Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. I am Opinionated MJ. That is the great Conrado Pascual. And this is a Golden State Valkyries edition. Yes, this is the game 5 and 6 recap where they play the New York Liberty in game 5 and the Minnesota Lynx in game 6. So
That's right.
yeah, let's jump right in. So how'd you feel about what you've seen?
Well, when we last left off, right,
Yeah.
the Liberty laid the smack on the Valkyries, right? I believe like that first game against them. Yeah, we
A
lost by
wrestling
28.
reference off top.
We lost by
Last the
28.
smack of down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it came down to like how would the Valkyries respond, right? We talked about it, right? This is a good opportunity for the Valks to use that back to back against the New York Liberty as kind of like a simulated playoff scenario, right?
Yeah.
How do you make adjustments from one game to the other? And to be clear, in that game against the second game against the Liberty, Jonquel Jones sat out.
Yeah.
That completely changes a lot of things in terms of like how the Valkyries had to defend. You know how you have
Yeah.
to account for certain like action. There was a lot less big to big action.
Hmm.
Like a big to big like Stewie Jonquel pick and roll. That makes things
Yeah.
a lot easier,
Yeah.
right? But having said that, I mean, like it was like night and day. It was
Yeah.
night and day. To the point where the Valkyries obviously they even took the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they
did.
took the lead. They took the lead in the fourth quarter,
It took some
and then
threes.
yeah, and then they were down 1 point with about 70 seconds to go, and there was kind of like well, they were called for a 5-second inbound violation. We'll
Hmm.
get to that.
Yeah.
And after at that point, right, New York scored, and then obviously
Yeah.
you tried to play catch up. But the point is this is exactly what you and I were talking about, and what we were kind of
Uh-oh.
looking.
Did we lose you, sir? Are you back?
I'm here.
Did you glitch too?
I pause this.
Keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Technical difficulty, y'all. Keep going.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there were a lot of significant improvements, both in terms of what they did defensively and offensively. Um, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of question about. Well, obviously not even a question, right? It was pointed out by a number of writers, number of fans, that the Valks lead the entire league in amount of defensive possessions played in a zone, to the point where
Yeah.
they said, like, is this bad? Is this a negative thing? And not necessarily. Like I said, I mean, to me, it wasn't. And I think a lot of people assume, well, look at that. They did not go into a zone in the second
The
game against Liberty.
links.
That's not
Oh,
true.
the Liberty. Yeah.
That is not true. They absolutely did, right? But like I
Mm,
said, there's a big difference, right? Is your base defense your man to man and then you switch to the zone, or is it the other way around?
right.
In this case, again, because John Quell wasn't there, they didn't feel the need to have to overload the perimeter. You
Right.
know, you
Yeah.
have VB who can basically, I wouldn't say like shut down. She did not shut down Sabrina Ionescu at all. No,
Right.
right? But at least can you stay in front of her? Can you then make her have to exclusively create off the dribble, right?
Right.
Less catch and shoot, less dribble penetration.
Hmm.
Um, with the Liberty, there wasn't too much you could criticize from that game. However, the Valkyries' ability to force turnovers, this is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
being up there amongst the league leaders in steals. You
Hmm.
know, uh, VB is. Maybe she's not quite at the level of Natasha Cloud yet as a defender, but I mean, she's getting there.
Ooh
You
wee.
know,
Yeah.
and we saw it in both games. I guess whatever, we'll just combine them, right?
Hmm.
Down the stretch, in order to give ourselves a chance, give the Valks a chance in both games, whether it's against Sabrina or Natasha Cloud, and in the Lynx game against Courtney Williams. I
Yeah.
mean, she was same thing, getting them to pick up their dribble, right?
Hmm.
Having them basically like kind of trapped against the sideline, out of bounds.
Yeah.
If not just completely like tripping them up, not tripping them up, but you know what I mean,
Yeah,
right? Like kind of
yeah.
like, dribbling the
Getting
ball
them
off their
off of they,
foot.
yeah,
Yeah. You know, uh, that's what I'm saying. Like the Valks have an ability to defend in a number of ways. And like I said, for me, that is a big positive. Like I don't think it was just kind of some kind of coincidental thing in the
right.
Mystics and the Sparks wins. They're finding these different ways of how to adjust, but also they can revert, you know, to
Yeah.
like kind of like their bread and butter plays. So it's been pretty good on that end, you
I
know.
mean, you think their perimeter defense is decent enough, or do you think that's the one thing that needs the most improvement? Because I've seen a lot of plays where, if we switch leagues and go to the men's and we go to the other team that we cover, they kind of remind me of that right now. Like as far as the perimeter, like it's like a couple swing passes and then boom, it's an open shot. You know what I mean? In some instances, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're there. That's something that's going to have to be both in terms of developing individually and
Yeah,
collectively, in the sense of, right, what do we all say, right? It's all those catchphrases, but they come up because it's real,
yeah,
containing at the point of attack, specifically limiting dribble penetration, you
right,
know. The thing is again, this is why it looked a lot worse against both Liberty and the Lynx when those happen, as opposed to say like well, shoot, we played the Sparks twice already. Okay, Sparks and then the
yeah,
Mystics,
yep,
right? But the problem is that the Liberty, if it's not Sabrina or Natasha Cloud, Stewie, right, can
yeah,
get you off the bounce, right? Well,
hmm,
John Quell didn't play in the second one, but Rebecca Gardner, obviously Marina
oh yeah,
Johannes,
good
right? And
lord,
with Marina Johannes, right? Like everything's a circus shot with her. So it's like
yes, it
whatever.
is.
Like I just
Yeah,
you just kind of accept it at this point. But I think more so against the Lynx, this is where like you have to look, in my opinion, you need to look at the process as opposed to just the final result,
right,
right? Not to say that like, okay, uh there's nothing you can do about it, but if you really look at it, like they did actually defend and contain the initial attack, right?
yeah,
The thing though is that, like, for example, the Lynx, they just lob it up to say like Fee, and she'll bail you out. Whether that's with like, she shoots herself, or she shoots the ball herself, or she'll find someone in a quick
right,
instant.
yeah,
Jessica Shepard to me is like, it's like, it's unfair. You
yeah,
can't have, like, you're not supposed to have a center that's skilled and who can process the game that quickly just coming off the bench. That's the thing, right? Like
yeah,
they have these abilities to find, like, again, they're like the release valves. They're the playmaking release valves, not a release valve shooter,
right,
but a release valve, right? They just keep dumping it into the middle, or maybe trying to get it like down into the paint, and then not with the intention of shooting. That's where it's like, okay, like, yes, you can say like, okay, Valkyrie perimeter players, like, just stay home. I can
yeah,
understand that, but at the
yep,
same time, no, right? I mean,
yeah.
that ball got swung with like 2 seconds to go on the shot clock. I understand
Well, yeah.
what the players are doing, right? They're trying to get in position to ideally get the rebound,
Get the board,
right?
yeah, because they're
That's
kind of
why it's like,
undersized too.
I don't think it's as bad. Also, too, if you really look at it, I mean, like, the shot quality, I mean, there are times where they lost connection. And I think
Yeah,
Natalie Nakase addressed that. I think in that third quarter against the Lynx, so at this point, we're just
that's what it
combining them both.
was. That's what it was, though.
Yeah, they did. They did. They were definitely getting beaten by the pass and
Hmm.
everything, and just too much scrambling. But again, that's because that's where you saw the adjustment. Again, keyword, making
Hmm.
adjustments, right? They
Right.
just said, F it. We're gonna pick you up full court, or just earlier in the possession. Because by the time the ball got back, there's too much action going off ball, whether that's cutting or screening, and then the secondary screening,
Yeah.
that's where the Valkyries were getting mixed up, you
Right.
know? So
Hmm.
that's why they're like, F it. F it. You know what? Like, which is, again, why I give so many flowers to
Yeah.
Veronica Burton. Just pick up. Just pick up, like, full court, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
She's been
again,
great this year.
yeah, I mean, again, I still stand by my initial I don't want to say necessarily assessment, but what
Yeah.
I truly believe is her best role is offensively, uh, be more of like a secondary ball handler, secondary ball handler, playmaker. That seems to really be baked into her DNA.
Yeah.
Like she's looking more to facilitate and set others up as opposed to getting her own,
Right.
you know? Um,
And she
but
probably needs to
I
do
love
more
it.
of it.
So here's the thing. Okay, yeah, yes, she does.
And let
But I'm saying,
Julie push.
so yes, yes. I mean, right now the rotations have typically been right, like VB and Tip, when Tip's
Hmm.
available,
Yeah.
have been the starting backcourt, and then Julie Von Lowe, Carla Late, um, kind of start getting like mixed in the
Hmm.
substitution pattern. So there are times, yeah, where she'll play alongside Julie. But yeah, I mean, in an ideal role, ideal. So let's say like you had like if we just hit free agency like right now, we could magically like bring in like say like yeah, like we could bring in like a Courtney Williams or a Natasha Cloud. I was having this
Ooh, oh
conversation
my
with a friend,
God,
right? Let's just
Natasha
say, right?
Cloud would go crazy with this team.
That's what I'm
The
saying,
way
right?
she
You bring
playing.
in one of those types of guards to pair with VB. VB could then focus. Look how amazing she is cutting off the ball. I mean, like,
Hmm.
really,
Yeah.
really good at cutting off the ball, like aggressively. That's the thing. I was just talking about, like, in the pre draft when people ask me about that. What do you mean, like, they're not good at driving the lane, but they're good in short confines, right? It's like she's
Yeah.
like a pinball. Like, she could, like,
Yeah.
really just hit that short gap, right? Very aggressively. Produces a lot
Hmm.
of momentum, right?
Yeah.
Um, so if she could focus on doing that, and then again, defensively, just be like an absolute dog, DAWG, right? On
Yeah.
defense, right? Just
Yeah.
completely, right? Just pester the ball handler,
Right.
not like press as much as possible. That
Hmm.
to me is her ideal role. But again,
Okay.
because, and this will be a continued theme, I think, this entire season, barring any substantial trades
Right.
or crazy leaps in individual improvement, right?
Yeah.
The Valks lack shot creation, right? So I guess this is a little bit of a transition period, but this is just going to show in both games, right?
Yeah.
This is what we talked about in the preseason preview, which is I felt that we felt that we are going to be competitive night in, night out.
Yeah.
But I could also see us having more so these offensive lulls in games because we don't really have anyone who can
A
truly
creator.
consistently create their own shot. We don't have anyone who can consistently break the paint.
Right.
That's why I kind of brought up those names like Natasha Cloud and Courtney Williams,
Yeah.
right? Someone of that ilk, right? They can do that like anytime,
Right.
in like the snap of a finger. Like, okay, it plays dead, or not even when it plays dead. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's why, right?
Hell, just to make it better for them because they shoot a gang of threes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
But
about
again,
30
I
a
go
game.
back to it. The quality of threes that they're getting, I still stand by
It's
that,
good.
are
Yeah,
good
it
threes.
is. They are.
Which is why it's like, okay, I know right now are like last time I checked, I believe technically yes, the Valkyries are last in offensive rating, right?
Mm,
They're
yeah.
13th out of 13. But it's like, man,
But them
I mean,
last two
obviously,
games.
like the numbers are what they are. But if
Hmm.
you like say they made like 3 more threes per game, which is actually kind of a lot.
Oh,
But right,
then
like if
they
we're just
they beat the Lynx and they beat the Liberty the second
okay,
game.
fine, let's just say like 2, right? Because I did
Oh,
the
okay.
calculations, right?
Okay.
They're averaging 2 more made threes per game. They basically shoot from 13 to like 7th best offensive rating. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're right. VB, because of the limitations of this entire roster, all of them, VB, Julie Von Lowe, Carla Late to a lesser extent,
Yeah.
Janelle Salon, they're all being asked to do more than I think they're capable of doing right now.
Right.
Like, for being very real, Julie Von Lowe, like, No, like you're not supposed to be like a primary scorer. That's not really, no, I'm serious. That's not what her role has ever been, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
in her limited time in the dub or, over in Europe. No, like creating off the dribble, like you're a pull up shooter, right? That's
Right.
what she's been and that's what she's good at. But now that's what I'm saying, right? We're trying to make up for what we don't do. And we're asking the people who probably aren't capable or ready to do that. Like, Janelle Salon,
Yeah. I see
Carla
her coming
Late.
off the wings quite a bit with the ball, trying
Yeah,
to dribble,
no,
and she
I
she
mean,
makes do with what she has. You know what I mean? Because a lot of those plays, some of them she actually finishes, whether she's shooting or whatnot. But yeah, that is the problem when I really sit and think about it. Now that you brought it to my attention like that,
yeah.
like they do need like a primary creator, and that will take them like up 2-3 notches. Honestly,
That's the thing. And I mean, too, like I said, I mean, obviously, I really like what Monique Billings has shown this year. So we're
yes.
entirely about like there is an imbalance, right? It keeps being
Hmm.
pointed out, especially in the losses, right? That we're
Yeah.
shooting a significant or amount of threes
Yeah.
relative. Like a significant percentage of our field goal attempts are coming from three. That I don't
Hmm.
think will change, even like
No,
when we
that
upgrade
I
this
think that's
roster,
yeah.
right?
I think that's the
Like, okay,
offensive philosophy.
so here's the thing, right? I kind of
Mm,
like was thinking about this because everyone's like, and again, like some of our friends of the show, like, they've had made comments like the Valks need to look, they need to find ways to score in the paint. I don't disagree. We do,
yeah,
we do,
they
but
do.
ultimately,
Outside of Kayla.
that is being right. That is being schemed up, right?
Yeah.
Or yes, schemed up or drawn up. There's a little bit difference, right? Like for example,
Hmm.
actually, this applies, but I'm going to give her flowers right now too. I've said it before.
Hmm.
Temi Fagbenle,
Man.
like, of if anyone has been like reaping the benefits of this Valkyries offense, it is Temi. Like,
Yeah.
because you see, like, okay, right, like Kayla, if you look at her career field goal percentages, because right now she's doing a little bit more off the dribble,
Yeah.
she's taking more threes relative, right? Like her production's still very good, right? Her
Yeah.
overall shooting splits are a little bit lower, right? Um,
To be
who else?
expected
It's to be expected,
with
right?
the
But
usage. Yeah.
Temi is not. She is actually experiencing career highs across the
Mhm.
board,
Yeah.
right? And what the reason why I say that is because see that's the thing, right? Like she understands how her shots are going to be produced within the flow of the offense.
Right.
You know, she's still one of the league leaders in finishing within the restricted circle, right? And
Hmm.
at the
Yeah.
rim, she's like
Yeah.
75% at the rim. You
Yeah. I
know,
think I seen something like that. I thought
yeah,
it was like 71, but yeah, it might be
yeah.
75.
And
Yeah.
then she is absolutely shooting confidently from three. And
From the
again,
three, yes.
you can question it's fair to question whether or not she should be doing it, but something
Yeah.
tells me this is something she wants to be a part of her game.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way now she's coming off of like those that big action, like the DHOs that
At the
turn
top.
into like kind of like a pin down, she
Hmm.
is letting that thing fly.
Yeah.
Like there is
She
no
is.
hesitation whatsoever, and it looks pretty fluid. I'm encouraging her to. Shit,
Mm,
I mean, we're an expansion team.
out here
Like,
looking like Kevin Garnett.
I know. No, seriously.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
Um, had that nice block on fee. But again,
Hmm.
like I guess the reason why I brought that up
Hmm.
is because everyone's like, okay, right? It's like you're right. They should. But I think they should definitely look to score more in the paint. But given the personnel, I think there's
Yeah,
only so much they can really do where again, like I said, it's you're executing a play or now you're having to scheme something up. Like you're actually like having to come up with like a gimmick is what I'm saying, right?
right.
You have to
On the
come up with like
fly.
a gimmick offense in order to
Hmm.
find a way to manufacture something down low.
Right.
That is not any more sustainable than what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, like the way I look at this roster through 6 games, right? It's down
Mm.
2-4, right? So this is,
And then
looking at both
they're gonna
limited
lose
games.
four. They're gonna lose four soon. Four of the players. They're going to
Oh, I thought
Euro.
you meant we're gonna lose 4 games. I'm like,
No,
damn, that's
no, no.
pessimistic,
They're gonna
man.
lose 4 players. I'm sorry, because they're
Uh,
going to Eurobasket.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get to that in a second. But I
Okay.
mean, overall, again, this is now more of a macro thought.
Mhm.
Because I think going back to the expansion draft and then free agency, and they didn't land the big name. They didn't get the Satu or the Alyssa Thomas or the
Right.
Kelsey Plum or
And
whatever.
T would have been perfect for this team.
Yes. Hey, we'll get to that at the end of the episode. But I'm
Okay.
saying people question whether or not they're like, man, like you just ended up with a bunch of role players, at least in the expansion draft. Well, I mean, like nothing would have changed. There wasn't like a star available, right? That was like
Right.
left unprotected. But whatever. All I'm saying is, okay, like I hate to use a cross sport analogy, but this one just keeps coming to mind,
Go
right?
for it. Yeah.
Like, do you remember when Peyton Manning joined the Denver Broncos?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, do you remember what the Denver Broncos were like the year before or the couple seasons before? Okay, for
I
our
don't
listeners,
remember.
if
I
you
don't
don't,
remember.
right? Like basically they had this like one of the best defenses
Oh
in
yeah.
the
As
league,
far as defense, yes,
right?
I do remember. Yeah.
And they had a bunch of young, athletic, talented wide receivers, right?
Hmm.
And like they had all kinds of great skill players, running backs. They had a good O line. The only problem is they didn't have a
A
quarterback,
quarterback. Hmm.
right? So like they lost games, right? But basically, the reason why I bring up this
You taking me
anecdote,
back, bro.
right? Yeah, right,
Tim Tebow.
is the Denver Broncos felt that they had everything that they needed except a quarterback. So once they had the
Hmm.
quarterback, they could insert that quarterback into the system
Right.
and it's all going to work, right? In a
Hmm.
way, I feel like that is the approach the Valkyries are taking. They're not trying to turn these role players into stars, you know?
Yeah.
They're trying to get the role players to understand a system so that when the star players come and are inserted, they understand how to execute, right? They can help
Mhm.
integrate that star player, that number one option.
Right.
And then there's already a lot of chemistry and recognition of how they want to run their offense and defense. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's why like I don't think they're necessarily asking VB, hey, we want you to become Natasha Cloud or Courtney Williams.
Right.
No. Like we want you to be the best so that when we find our Natasha Cloud or Courtney Williams, right, you're going to be the best complementary player to them. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Like that is what I'm saying. Like everyone, the looks, first of all, in the short term,
Hmm.
or welcome back to Shelly. First of all, it is not Cecilia Zandalicini, it's Chichelia. All right. So you didn't know that, huh? Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
want to
know.
send
Hey,
us. I want to send an apology
no.
to Miss Zandalicini because
Yeah.
I've been calling her that for
No,
a
I
little
think it's like
long now.
it's like fans that call Julie Van Loo. She just goes by it now. Like whatever, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's endearing.
Yeah. I'm
No,
guilty of that too.
the point,
In the
the
past.
bigger point though, is that I think that in the short term, now that we have Zandalicini back, Talbot is finding her rhythm.
Hmm. Making some
Even
good
Julie
threes
Von
too.
Lowe. That's what I'm saying, right? Like of our veterans,
They're
they
doing
have a
their thing.
large body of work to
Yeah.
suggest that they can make threes. They just haven't been knocking them down at their normal clip. And the quality of looks that they're getting, I have to believe that they're like I do. I believe that they're going to go down. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I think this is going to normalize, but we'll see. We'll see. But
It's
again,
just a synergy thing. Like just
yeah,
the people who may be feeding you the ball for a quick, a quick jump shot, spot up shot.
yeah,
They have to know how you want the ball and you know exactly how to feed it to you in the pocket over here or straight so you could just go. It's just a matter of learning each other. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's coming along, especially like they say practice makes perfect and you can't make nothing good without repetition. So, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
So
it's definitely coming.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But again, that's both again something that applies to both short term and
Yeah,
long term gains. Um, but yeah, every time I watch this, that's what it keeps coming down to. And I think I know you could say like, oh, it's an easy out in terms of
yeah,
assessing that team, but that's it, right? Like I don't believe. I mean, make no mistake, right? Carla Late potential. We don't know what she'll ultimately be. I mean, we're optimistic. Same thing with Janelle Salon, but
right,
they're not established stars yet. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah,
And for the veterans, while I do believe they're all capable of improvement, like I said, look at Veronica Burton. Well, I mean,
yeah,
she's a young veteran, but an
yeah,
relatively older veteran. Like, look at Temi doing something she's
hmm,
never done.
right,
So, hey, right? Turns out you can teach an older dog new tricks, right?
hmm, yeah, oh yeah,
But
you can,
ultimately, like I said, I think this is each player. Obviously, we'd love to have as many come back next season. You never know, free agency, right?
yeah,
But for those that we do believe will come back, right? Salon, Late, ideally Veronica Byrne, Kate Martin. We'll get to her in a second. Like their individual improvements and the way like they're going to carry over how this team wants to operate.
hmm,
And so again, if we are because I don't know if you saw those comments, right? Like, was it Courtney Williams and Atisha Heidemann were on a live stream yesterday,
yeah. I heard
and
about it. I
yeah, they
seen the clips on Twitter, but
yeah.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Well,
Like I didn't,
basically,
yeah,
for whoever, if you didn't catch it, listeners,
mm,
basically they were asked about what their impressions were of Chase Center, Valhalla, right?
hmm,
And they said like it was incredible. Like they've never experienced anything like that. That the seats they could not believe that all the seats were filled,
yeah,
even the upper bowl. That's three straight sellouts, right? 18 plus
hmm.
thousand fans, right? They said they literally could not hear each other on the floor,
Oh, I heard that one. I did listen to that
and
one.
they
Yeah.
loved it. They loved it. I mean, like obviously you don't want to be encouraging them because they're the opponent, but you know,
Hey, no, no, come
for
on.
them, no, that's what I'm saying. Like it goes to show that these soon to be free agents, both of them are, but I mean, again, across the league, they are seeing this.
Hmm.
They are seeing this. You see, like the state of the art practice facilities. You see the way that the players, like by the team, the fans, the community, the way they're being embraced. I mean, like,
Hmm.
there's no one way to build a roster. Obviously,
Right.
my stance. I believe we're just going
Glass
to
half
lose
full.
organically. Oh, I'm definitely a glass half full guy. But what I'm saying is, like,
Hmm.
I'm okay with us not making the playoffs. I
Yeah.
don't really expect us to. I
Yeah.
do believe we benefit more to getting a high lottery pick,
Yeah.
but that doesn't just mean we're just losing, like tanking. I think they're seeing the competitiveness. They're seeing the creative. Like Cheryl Reeves' quotes meant so much to me. I could only imagine how much it means to Natalie Nakase and the Valkyries organization. And if you didn't catch that, I'm paraphrasing here. She just basically said when she sees a young team or a new
Hmm.
team, what first thing that she wants to look out for is for Cheryl, she's asking herself, can I identify, like, or can I determine what that team's identity is?
Right.
Right. And she goes, if I can't determine that, then that makes me wonder, like, do they even know what their identity is? And if you
Right.
don't, do you even know
Then.
what you're really doing? Do you
Right.
really know what your purpose is? Do you know what your direction is? Right.
Right.
And she said that when she looks at the Valkyries, right, and the way they make in game adjustments, right, the way they've prepared, she can definitively say she understands what their identity is on both ends.
Yeah.
And coming from someone like Cheryl Reeve, that meant, when I read that, that meant a lot to me and shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm not a player. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I think, again, a lot of how we look at this, at least for me, a lot of way we're going to look at the team this year
Yeah.
is from a long term, a more macro perspective,
Right.
right? But those individual micro achievements and improvements, can culminate in something bigger long term, like
Right.
a Kate Martin, scoring explosion,
Right.
right?
Yeah, because she went crazy
Against
the other day.
Minnesota, which again, like Valhalla went wild.
Hmm.
Uh, all I'll say about that, and I would like your impression because I know you saw the game where you at least saw her highlights.
Yes.
Um, it's
I
not
just
sustainable. I'll be very quick.
oh,
It's no, no,
okay.
no, no. Like you're not going to score 14 points in 6 minutes every game,
I mean, no, but
but the skill set is because I think
yeah,
there have been
okay, okay.
questions like what extent, like what is she capable of doing? We now know, right? We've seen what she's capable of. Like, will it be that explosive every game?
Hmm.
No. But again, right, these are the types of things, right? Like, you see certain players like, okay, like I'm not gonna expect like, I don't know. I'm just throwing out random names here, right? Like
Okay.
I'm not going to expect I don't know, Monique Billings to like shoot 35 footers in transition, right? Like
Yeah.
she could do it, but you kind of expect it not to be very successful.
Yeah.
But with Kate, what I'm saying is the things that she did in that 6, 7 minute stretch, like you believe these are things that are reproducible, right?
Right.
Maybe again, not so consecutively like that, but over the course of a game, over the course of a season, okay, you can kind
Yeah.
of see the vision. So
Well, I mean, I feel like plugging in what we spoke about earlier with the point guard thing. I mean, we know who Kate Martin is famous for running for. So basically, or running with, I should say, for all the fans out there that know. Um, so when they do get that creator, I think that just unlocks her game even more. You know what I mean? Like the
yeah,
true creator, like yeah, that just makes her where she's somebody that you have to play honest defense on, like all the time, because she's
yeah.
gonna be a problem.
I agree. I mean, I don't really see her. I don't know. Like, I still envision her, and I say this in a good way. I see her as like this high end utility player, right?
Right.
I see her more as a wing too,
Hmm.
as opposed to a guard.
A guard, yeah.
But like the ultimate glue guy, that connective piece. Um, that when you actually have like a championship core, she's
Mm,
one of those players, right, that can kind of like connect all those lineups, right, from like the starting unit to the second unit.
yeah.
um so it's really exciting, and like I said, I mean, that's what you want to see. Obviously, again, going back to the Liberty game, I'm not mad about really any loss.
Yeah.
That one, though, I guess if I have any little criticism, I do wonder. Like, I understand that Natalie Nakase, she's empowering her players, which is a
Yeah.
good thing,
Yeah.
right? She's trusting them. There are times though where I think she might need to not necessarily micromanage them,
Yeah.
kind of rein them in, because again, right? Like, I'm not blaming Veronica Burton like for that 5 second inbound violation against the Liberty. In my opinion, in real time, I thought she got it off like just in time, right?
I did too. I
Yeah,
didn't. I didn't think that
right.
it
And
was a
that
five.
was going to be a go ahead bucket right there, by the
Yeah.
way. But okay, like at the same time, it's like that fine balance because she is helping these players, especially the veterans, expand their game at the
Right.
same time, right? And it's great to see. At the same time, we have to remember these are certain things that they have not done regularly throughout their careers.
Right.
So that's why, like, sometimes, okay, right? Like, some of these turnovers, some of it, as you said, is chemistry,
Yeah.
timing,
Yep.
just kind of like the right angle. Where do you want it? Do you want it like chest high? Do you want it around the waist?
Right.
I'm with you on that one. Other
Plus the
times,
defense.
though,
Yeah.
yeah, other
Better.
times, like for example, was it against Minnesota?
Hmm.
We really should have gone into halftime up by no more than 3 points, right? We should have
Hmm.
had close to the final possession,
Right.
right? But then I can't remember who took it down. It was either VB or Julie, but they just pushed the pace, right? And ended
Hmm.
up turning the ball over,
Right.
right? And then we ended up fouling on defense. So we gave them 2 free throws. So we go into halftime up one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
those are the times where it's like, I know it's loud and everything like that, but you really have to get these players, even the vets, on the same page, right? Like, which is why I said the same thing. Like there are certain things that like Julie does. Uh, Overall, I think she's been a good positive influence, but she makes passes that I don't think she's capable of
Yeah.
making. Like I say that in the sense that like she makes these passes as if like she's like what 5'8",
9.
5'9",
Yeah.
and she passes them like she's 6'6". Like no, you're not going to get that over the defender. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying,
Yeah.
but those are a lot of the types of turnovers you're seeing. You know, being a little too aggressive, and again, it goes back for them. They got to kind of check themselves, but like Natalie probably has to check them too, right? Because at the very least, like all of them, you need to know, right? It's the same thing: time, situation, right?
Yeah.
Game score, you know, clock management, all those things, right? That's where it's like, okay, you kind of have to rein in your team because even though, like, like the veterans, like you have a champion, you literally have a champion on your team, right? In Caleb Thorne,
Yeah.
still, right? If you're now going to have her again, she's not like pounding the rock, but still, right? Like, okay, like there are certain, like, don't try to go into like the deep corner, things like that, right? Which again, we're what 6 games in, so we got 38 more to continue to improve this.
Thank
Right?
God.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, so we'll have another game this upcoming Thursday against the Phoenix Mercury. It'll be
Ooh-wee.
interesting. Yeah, well,
Good Lord.
uh,
AT.
well, she didn't play tonight.
Who, AT?
Yeah, she's been out the
I didn't
last
see
couple
that one.
games.
I didn't see.
Yeah,
I was watching
yeah, they're pretty
Washington
short-handed.
and Indy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty short-handed. Um, Actually, for Phoenix, shout out. They signed one of like my draft sleepers,
Oh
Megan
yeah.
McConnell,
hmm
for our
She got
NBA
hurt.
fans out there. Yeah, I know she got hurt. She got hurt.
Yeah.
But for those, like, I mean, she is like her own player, but she happens to be the younger sister of Indiana point guard TJ
hmm
McConnell, so that's pretty cool.
Right. Congrats.
Um, yeah, basketball IQ definitely runs in their family.
Yeah. If she's anything like him, they got a
Yeah,
winner.
but no, they've been pretty short-handed, which is actually what motivated that signing.
hmm
Uh, Satu has basically been, the alpha
hmm
that they expected when they signed or traded for her, actually.
Yeah.
And Kalea Copper is still out. So
Supposedly
we'll be
until like the 15th or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But going back to actually before we close this out, just real quick, since you
Mm.
did bring it up, what of the players that will be leaving for Eurobasket, who do you think will miss the most, and what is like your
Oh,
concern?
that's easy.
Okay,
Janelle
all right, well,
Salon. You
okay,
already
yeah,
know. Janelle all day, bro. Because I see some of the things that she's doing, and I see like flashes. Like I see other players in some of the things that she does. Like
mm-hmm.
she will come off the dribble and then do that fader, and I'm like, Brianna. Sometimes when she's trying to, go basically on with the ball in her hand, she looks like Satu at times. And sometimes when she shoots, she makes me think of my girl, Nafisa Collier. So I don't know, man. Like I can't wait to see who she develops into because she's gonna be a star in this league. I think I can see star on her. You know what I mean? I really can. Either that or she's gonna be like a really, really good just player. You know what I mean? For sure, a starter. But I can see star potential in her. And she's only how old? Like 19?
Who, Salon?
Yeah.
No, 23.
23. Oh well, damn. Well, age ain't nothing but a number.
What do you mean 23? That's literally the normal age of all the rookies, right?
Yeah, but
She's like younger
I'm
than
only
like Paige and
I'm only
Kiki.
saying that because people equate age in basketball to old. You know what I mean? They'll be like, "Oh, this age? Oh, you're old." Like, no, it's not the 90s. You know what I mean? This is not that
Yeah,
medicine, that nutrition, that training, that the shoes, the nothing. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff is state of the art now, especially there. You know what I mean? In Golden
yeah.
State with the facilities and things that they have available to them. So I think she's the sky is the limit, bro. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like,
It is. We'll
I give it a
see.
year or two. I give it a year or two, and she gonna be crazy,
Yeah.
especially
Um,
playing overseas.
we will.
When
Which
is the
other
next
players are
game?
going?
Thursday.
Thursday. Thursday.
Thursday.
Well, I
Okay.
guess we'll talk about it. We'll probably talk about it when we get closer to their departures
Okay.
for Eurobasket. But I mean, uh, if I heard her correctly, and I played that interview a number of times to make sure I didn't mishear Natalie Nakase,
Yeah.
she did mention that they've already, like Ohemanianen and the front office, they've already for a while now been doing their due diligence of, they have a list of names that I think they've
Calling
already
people.
contacted
I'm
of
glad
who's
you
going
told
to
me
come
that.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of, we'll talk. We'll
I
talk. I've
mean,
heard, someone's
I'll
kind of been
throw
in my ear.
one name. I'll throw one name because that's been on my mind too, especially after earlier. Um, I think Letitia Emma here is coming back. She has to.
Okay.
She's too nice.
Okay.
She was too good. She played too well in the preseason, man. I don't even know why they let her go anyway. But she'll be back.
Okay. I like it.
You want to leave it right there?
Yeah. Well, because, right, like I said, let's, once we get closer, and I mean, right now, yeah, I mean, Julie is definitely going, but you never know, right? Things might
Yeah.
change, plans might change as we get closer, so
Hmm.
we'll see.
Okay, that's gonna be a fun episode. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening, watching. If you watch, make sure y'all follow us. Twitter handles are Pineda underscore MJ, CP3 underscore 777, EMW underscore pod. Go follow us right now. Make sure you subscribe to this, like, drop your comments about how you feel about the Valkyries right now, if you're a Valkyries fan, especially. And yeah, we'll be back for sure sometime this week, if not the weekend. So thank you. And night night.
Take care.